What if your entire understanding of where you come from is fundamentally flawed? What if your purpose here isn't what you've been led to believe? The implications of these questions could alter everything you thought you knew about yourself and the world. The unease you may sometimes feel, the sense that something is missing in the grand narrative of existence, might be pointing to a deeper, hidden truth. This isn't just about exploring a fringe idea, it's about unveiling a perspective that could redefine your entire life experience. The central premise of this video is that humanity's true origins are far more intricate and deliberately obscured than the accepted story we've been told. A more advanced entity, or perhaps an unseen force, may have intervened in our development. Imagine a scenario, much like the movie The Matrix, where the world as you know it is only a simulation, a carefully crafted illusion designed to keep you from realizing your true power. This perspective isn't just speculation. Many ancient myths, legends, and esoteric texts speak of advanced beings, fallen gods, and seeded civilizations, creating a consistent pattern that suggests a more complex history than the one we've been presented with. Throughout this video, we will reveal the hidden threads woven into our past. These threads are not only unusual anomalies, they are clues. There is a possibility that our reality itself has been manipulated, and that control over knowledge, information, and even belief systems is a powerful tool to keep us disconnected from our innate abilities and potential. It is plausible that our disconnection from our true nature and the limitations we experience have been imposed from the outside and reinforced from within. This explanation provides some context for why non-traditional views on origin are often suppressed or ignored. This also sets the stage to question if what we see is all there is. The significance of uncovering these hidden origins extends far beyond mere academic curiosity. Discovering the true story of our creation is a pathway to personal awakening and liberation. Understanding where you come from has a profound impact on your perception of self, purpose, and what you believe to be possible. Ignorance of these hidden truths can be akin to being held captive, whereas awareness of this secret can lead to self-mastery. These implications touch upon the very course of human history, affecting not just our individual lives, but the entire collective. What we believe about our origins dictates the future we create. This journey is about more than intellectual understanding. It's about a profound shift in self-perception that leads to the transformation of reality. Accepted narratives are often deeply rooted and challenging to break away from. The notion that our beliefs construct reality presents a path to freedom, moving away from imposed control and towards self-creation. The power to reclaim your awareness and write your own narrative is within you, so let's begin. Let's briefly review the accepted scientific understanding of human origin, Darwin's theory of evolution, and the gradual development of humanity from more primitive forms. It's important to acknowledge that while this view has been largely accepted, there are limitations and missing links in the fossil record, gaps that don't quite fit the established narrative. Now, let us entertain some counterpoints. We can consider the possibility of extraterrestrial intervention, ancient advanced civilizations, or even genetic manipulation by entities that are far more advanced than us. These perspectives are not just fanciful ideas. They echo in ancient myths of gods descending to Earth and seeding civilizations that predate accepted historical records. These concepts create the ideal conditions for the viewer to explore more. Through this exploration, we will reveal ideas such as the veil and awakening. These ideas will serve as metaphors throughout the video, highlighting the limited nature of our minds. The notion of waking up from an imposed dream or simulation will be made clear. Seeing beyond the veil is the key to unlocking our true story. The patterns we will use throughout the video are dualities, traditional versus hidden, aware versus unaware, limited versus limitless, and victim versus creator. These contrasting concepts help to better understand the different dimensions of this discussion. Consider the contrast of being awake versus being asleep. Now, consider the implications of these differing narratives of human origin. If you discovered your origins were not as you always thought, how would this change your life? How would it affect your view of history, your purpose, or your potential? Is it possible that your entire experience has been built on a fabricated truth? The presence of a controlling entity or force that has manipulated our history is not as far-fetched as it may seem. This controlling entity is a puzzle, one that we will continue to explore, a puzzle supported by historical conspiracies and instances of manipulated information. The most powerful control, however, is seeded into our belief systems. Our own personal and societal beliefs place limits on what we think we can achieve. It's important to recognize the limitations created by the beliefs we adopt. This will begin to unveil your own personal responsibility in this complex web of reality. Finally, we will touch upon the simulation theory as a potential framework for understanding our reality. It will serve as an explanation for the control that exists. These are key themes that we will explore as we continue this journey. Let's delve deeper into the accepted story of human evolution, the linear model that suggests a gradual progression from simple life forms to complex human beings, and let's explore some of its most glaring gaps. The conventional story of evolution paints a picture of a slow, steady climb up the ladder of progress. But what if this climb wasn't so smooth? What if there were sudden leaps, unexpected turns, and perplexing jumps that don't align with the gradual path we've been taught? The fossil record, for instance, is far from complete. We see sudden appearances of new species with no clear ancestors, a phenomenon that scientists refer to as missing links. This is not to dismiss the idea of evolution altogether, but to consider the possibility that this process wasn't always as linear as we have been led to believe. The fossil record, rather than showing a clear progression, displays more like a series of punctuated bursts, with long periods of stagnation followed by abrupt changes. Think of it as a staircase with several missing steps. And what if these missing steps hold the answer to our true origins? These questions challenge the very foundation of conventional science, making us wonder if there are forces at play that we are yet to comprehend. Consider also the sudden technological leaps that mark human history. The rapid development of agriculture, the emergence of complex writing systems, and the sudden explosion of civilization in ancient Mesopotamia. These events occurred without clear precedent or explanation. It's as if humanity went from relatively simple hunter-gatherers to sophisticated builders, astronomers, and mathematicians almost overnight. Is it possible that this sudden advancement was not entirely our own doing? These are important questions to consider as we explore the idea of hidden origins. These examples of gaps and leaps begin to paint an entirely different picture of our past. The narrative of gradual evolution, while widely accepted, may not be the whole truth. Now let's look at some of the more interesting anomalies within our very own genetic makeup. Within the human genome, we find fascinating and perplexing pieces that challenge the idea of purely natural evolution. So-called junk DNA, for example, comprises a vast portion of our genetic material that science does not fully understand. These sections of our DNA don't seem to code for anything and remain largely a mystery. It's as if there are hidden codes embedded within our very being that we are yet to decipher. Is this merely evolutionary leftovers, or is it possible that this junk serves another purpose? What if it's like dormant software, a genetic code waiting to be activated? Further, if we look into the structure of our chromosomes, we discover that humans have one less pair of chromosomes compared to other primates, a unique anomaly that cannot easily be explained by conventional evolution. Such anomalies prompt us to look beyond the usual interpretations and ask, what if our genetic code was deliberately altered, changed by a more advanced hand? What if we are not the result of purely natural processes, but rather a hybrid race? These ideas might sound like science fiction, but if we are committed to finding the truth, then we must consider all possibilities, no matter how unusual. It is important to consider the possibility that our genetics were not a product of chance, but of intentional design or manipulation. The implications of this are significant. They completely change our understanding of what it means to be human. If our DNA has been tampered with, then our identity has been tampered with as well. These are things that we should be aware of as we go further into our true story. These discoveries create a deeper sense of intrigue and are important as we explore esoteric ideas in the following sections. Now, let's shift our focus from the scientific to the historical and archaeological records, examining evidence of advanced civilizations that don't align with the accepted timeline of human history. Around the world, there are ancient monuments, megalithic structures, and artifacts that defy conventional explanations. Consider the Great Pyramid of Giza, a structure built with incredible precision and astronomical alignment, or the massive stone structures at Baalbek in Lebanon, constructed from stones weighing hundreds or thousands of tons. How did ancient people with limited technology achieve such feats of engineering? These structures pose a difficult problem to the accepted timeline of technological development and force us to consider the possibility that a more advanced civilization existed before the dawn of our recorded history. Or what about the vast number of ancient artifacts and sophisticated technologies that have been discovered in areas of the world where they should not have been? The Antikythera mechanism, for example, is an ancient Greek device that seems to be a complex astronomical computer, far beyond what we believe to be the technological capacity of the time. Or consider the ancient maps that depict parts of the world that were unknown to modern cartographers with astounding accuracy. What does this say about the level of technology available to these ancient people? These discoveries hint at a forgotten golden age, or perhaps the influence of more advanced beings that have left their mark on our planet. The sheer abundance of unexplained artifacts suggests that our history may be far older and far more complex than we have been led to believe. It is important to understand that this isn't just about isolated findings. There are cultural similarities and technological patterns across different regions that suggest a common source or origin. The pattern of challenging traditional views and uncovering previously unknown information is critical to understanding the full scope of this hidden history. Considering this evidence, let's explore a narrative that posits that humanity was not merely an accidental occurrence on Earth, but a genetically created species seeded here by an advanced entity. Ancient texts, myths, and legends across many cultures speak of creator beings, sometimes referred to as gods, who came to Earth and either created or manipulated human beings. The Sumerian texts, for instance, speak of the Anunnaki, beings who came from the heavens and genetically engineered humans to work in their minds. The Bible, though often interpreted metaphorically, also includes creation stories that are not too dissimilar and include the idea that we were formed from the dust. Is this merely a coincidence, or is it possible that these stories reflect a hidden truth? Think of the narrative of Prometheus, who stole fire from the gods to give to humanity, an allegory that could be seen as the gift of knowledge or the spark of consciousness. Could this be interpreted as the moment we received our divine spark? The idea that we are created or seeded here has far-reaching implications, creating a bridge from conventional scientific ideas to the more spiritual and esoteric. If our origins lie in such an intervention, then what does this mean about our purpose and potential? Why were we created, and what is our true inheritance? These are questions that echo through all great spiritual texts, that all seem to touch on a similar theme. This also suggests that our story is far more intricate and fascinating than we ever imagined. This is the beginning of understanding that there is a possibility that humanity was created for a specific purpose that has yet to be uncovered. It is not a linear path, but a complex web of history, myth, and esoteric knowledge that we will explore further. Now, let's explore some of the wisdom contained within the ancient esoteric texts, the Vedas, Gnostic writings, and Hermetic philosophy, and see how their creation stories echo the alternative narrative we've been discussing. These texts speak of a divine spark within each human being, a fragment of a larger consciousness that connects us to our true source. They describe the idea that we are not merely physical beings, but also spiritual entities with immense potential. They emphasize the power of human consciousness and our ability to shape reality. In the Vedas, you'll find references to the idea that human beings are divine in essence, not just beings formed from dust, but reflections of the ultimate reality, a concept that echoes through many ancient cultures. Similarly, the Gnostic texts often speak of a creator God that is not the ultimate source, but rather a flawed being who traps souls in a material world. They describe our true nature as being of the light, a spark of divine consciousness, not unlike the idea of the divine spark. Hermetic philosophy, in turn, presents the idea that we are microcosms of the macrocosm, reflecting the greater universe within us. This means that all the power and potential of the cosmos is also within every human being. These esoteric texts suggest that we have forgotten our true nature and potential due to the illusory nature of material reality and have been asleep to our real identity. These are not simply allegories or abstract concepts. They are clues pointing to a deeper truth. The divine spark implies that we are not merely the products of evolution, but the seeds of something far greater. These concepts build on the previous ideas by positioning humanity within a much larger, more profound context. Expanding on this idea, let's consider the concept of the soul, the higher self, or the true self, as a fragment of this larger consciousness. Many esoteric traditions propose that our individual consciousness is not isolated, but part of a collective or universal consciousness, much like a wave in the ocean is part of the ocean itself. We perceive ourselves as separate, individual beings, yet in reality we are all interconnected and part of a unified field of consciousness. What if our true origin isn't from this planet, but from somewhere far beyond? It is possible that the consciousness that inhabits these bodies comes from a higher realm or plane of existence, with an experience of duality as a way of expressing its own nature. This aligns with the idea that our physical bodies are vessels or instruments for this higher self, a concept that we see in many spiritual traditions. We are not simply physical beings. We are experiencing life through a physical body here on Earth, but our true self is far more expansive. It is the ocean itself. This idea also positions consciousness as the primary creative force, the foundation of reality itself, and implies that our minds play a role in how reality is formed and maintained. If consciousness is the core of all existence, then our thoughts, beliefs, and awareness are far more powerful than we have been led to believe. Understanding that we are not limited to our physical forms can unlock our true potential and shift our perception of the world. This idea moves the narrative forward by expanding our view of self, from a biological being to a conscious being that has much more capacity. It will become even more clear how all of this relates to our own lives. Now, let's deepen the metaphors of the veil and awakening by looking at the symbolic representation of light and darkness and how they apply to the journey of understanding our true nature. The symbolism of light often represents truth, knowledge, and understanding, whereas darkness represents ignorance, illusion, and the lack of awareness. Many ancient cultures have used this imagery to convey the concept of enlightenment, seeing the transition from darkness to light as a metaphor for waking up from a dream. The idea that we are asleep to our true nature, living in a kind of dreamlike state, is prevalent in many esoteric traditions. So too, the concept of awakening. In this state, we are governed by programmed beliefs, societal narratives, and limited perceptions that keep us unaware of our own power and potential. Consider the image of the tree of knowledge from the Bible, often interpreted as the moment of enlightenment or awareness. It symbolizes the understanding that leads us to see behind the veil, recognizing that the world we perceive is not the only reality. The serpent, often portrayed as a negative symbol, can also represent the wisdom and transformation that comes from recognizing the hidden nature of reality. These symbols, repeated across countless traditions, paint a vivid picture of a journey from ignorance to enlightenment, from unconsciousness to awareness. The process of awakening is not just an intellectual pursuit. It is a deep internal shift that involves shedding limiting beliefs and societal conditioning to see through the illusions of the material world. This reinforces the pattern of challenging programmed thinking and helps the viewer understand how these concepts fit together. It's all about seeing things as they truly are, not how they have been presented to us. Building on this, let's make the connection between these esoteric concepts and the idea of a manipulated reality. Ancient texts frequently refer to an illusion, or Maya, which presents a world that seems real, but is actually a projection or a construct. This illusion keeps us trapped within a limited perception of reality, preventing us from realizing our true potential and connection to our source. The idea of being imprisoned by our perceptions is also a common theme in many spiritual traditions. The goal of spiritual practice and the pursuit of truth is not just to escape this illusion, but to transcend it, to see beyond the limitations that have been placed upon us and recognize our own role in shaping our experience. The journey of understanding our origins is also a path to liberation. As we begin to peel back the layers of deception, we can begin to escape the matrix and understand our true purpose and potential. Consider this: the world around us may not be as solid as we believe. Our perception of reality, our sense of self, and our understanding of history may all be part of an elaborate construct. If this is the case, then our journey becomes one of both discovery and liberation, a path to reclaiming our true origins and becoming aware of the potential to shape and transform our own reality. This also strengthens the idea that things are not what they seem, and that our limited experience is only one version of reality. These concepts lay the groundwork for understanding that reality is not a fixed entity, but a fluid experience we have the power to influence. Now, let's start to explore how science is beginning to catch up to some of these ancient ideas. So, let's bring all of this together with a central understanding that the they who have hidden the truth are not merely external forces, but also the limitations programmed within our own minds and embedded deep within our collective consciousness. The societal narratives that we accept as reality, the programmed beliefs that we often mistake for our own, these are the true chains that bind us. Remember earlier, when we talked about the sudden leaps in human technology, we attributed it to a possible intervention or influence. But what if that intervention was not just external, but also a manipulation of our own collective mind? What if our very perception of reality has been shaped by these limiting beliefs and narratives? This is the critical first step, the recognition that we are not just victims of an external conspiracy, but active participants in maintaining our own limitations. The responsibility to wake up, to understand our origins, also lies within us. This is a far more empowering position than believing we are helpless pawns in a game we cannot control. This understanding places the power of transformation directly in our own hands. It is not something we are waiting for someone else to do, but something we must consciously embrace by shedding our own veils. Let's now complete some of the patterns we have created throughout our journey of discovery. The veil that we have spoken so much about, the barrier that separates us from our true potential, is not just something external that hides the world from us. It's also the very fabric of our own limited beliefs. The veil is woven from the threads of our own unquestioned assumptions, our programmed reactions, and our adherence to outdated societal narratives. The act of awakening, therefore, is not just about seeing through the external illusion, but recognizing our own participation in creating it. We must consciously choose to unravel these limiting narratives, to challenge the thoughts and beliefs that keep us trapped. Remember the duality of victim versus creator. If we recognize ourselves as co-creators of the very matrix we feel trapped in, we begin to see our own power. We move from feeling like we are controlled to understanding our own role in shaping our reality, even the limitations. It is no longer about escaping, but understanding how we are participants in the game. This powerful understanding is what will set us free. Understanding these interconnected themes and the patterns that they create provides an even clearer vision of what we are and what we are here to do. At the heart of this exploration lies the understanding that the perceived lack of control and our limited sense of identity are not natural, but an intricately woven construct that can be disrupted. It's not a fixed reality we are forced to endure, but a set of beliefs and narratives that have been imposed upon us. And by understanding the origin of these narratives, we can begin to dismantle them. Awareness is the key. It's what we are learning to use, and how we learn to use it that makes the difference. The power of individual choice is more potent than we realize. By choosing to question these beliefs, we begin to break free. It is not enough to simply understand the concepts we have explored. We must actively embody them by making changes in our daily lives. By taking full responsibility for our own reality, for the narratives that play in our minds, and for the choices that we make, we reclaim our power. This is how we begin to reshape our world. This is how we stop simply understanding the ideas and begin to experience them. It is through this transformation of self that we can truly change our world. We begin by understanding how our inner world creates our outer experience. And what if this entire experience of reality is not some arbitrary event, but a meticulously designed training ground for consciousness to explore and understand its own nature? What if the struggles, the challenges, and even the pain that we encounter are integral parts of this learning process? They are opportunities for growth, the refining fire that reveals our true nature. Each challenge we overcome, each difficulty we face, allows us to deepen our understanding of ourselves and our potential. They are not simply obstacles, but pathways to deeper self-realization. By seeing our experiences from this new perspective, we begin to understand that we chose to be here, we chose the challenges and the opportunities that are embedded within them. We are not simply victims of circumstances, but rather active participants in a grand play of conscious evolution. This is why understanding our hidden origins is not just a pursuit of intellectual knowledge, it's an embrace of our full potential. It is not a reason to avoid the pain of human experience, but a way to embrace it. This knowledge has implications that extend far beyond our individual lives, affecting the collective human experience in a powerful way. We exist within a shared reality, an interconnected web of consciousness that is co-created by our collective beliefs. Every thought, every action, and every perspective that we hold impacts the whole. Therefore, when we transform ourselves, we are simultaneously contributing to the evolution of the entire collective. The understanding of our hidden origins, the recognition of our power, and the commitment to growth is not just a personal quest, it is a movement towards collective liberation. This also underscores the importance of recognizing our interconnectedness, seeing that what we do affects not just ourselves, but the entire tapestry of human consciousness. It is by understanding the depths of our individual responsibility that we can truly transform our collective human experience. We must each step into our own power in order to truly change the world. This is how we elevate our own experience and the experience of all. Let's also revisit the dualities that we have explored, not as opposing forces, but as different perspectives within the same reality. Light and darkness, for instance, are not enemies, but two essential components of a complete picture. One cannot exist without the other. The matrix and the real world are not separate dimensions, but different layers of our experience, different perspectives on the same unified reality. These dualities that we have explored are simply the different expressions of consciousness, and each is necessary for the other to exist. By understanding these dualities as part of a larger whole, we can move beyond conflict and embrace interconnectedness. And by choosing to see each aspect of life, not as an opposite, but as part of a larger picture, we can create a new world. Each of these patterns, these dualities that we have explored, are not only a part of us, but a part of everything. And by seeing the interconnectedness of it all, we can truly transform our world. The understanding of our origins is not about choosing a side, but it's about embracing the whole. The journey of self-discovery, the pursuit of inner understanding, and the quest to uncover our hidden origins are inseparably intertwined. By changing our internal world, by altering our limiting beliefs, we can directly shape our external reality. What we perceive as the outer world is simply a reflection of our inner world. This is the great alchemical mystery, that by changing our thoughts and our beliefs, we can transmute our reality from one of limitation to one of infinite possibility. The more we come to know our true selves, the more we recognize our inherent power, the greater impact we have on the collective reality. This journey of awakening and self-realization is the most powerful action we can take for ourselves and for the world. And it is through the understanding of our origins that we truly discover our potential. The understanding of who we truly are is the greatest act of change that we can create, and our awareness is the very tool that will help us get there. By aligning with this truth, we begin to change both ourselves and the world around us. And finally, freedom isn't about escaping life, but about fully embracing it with awareness of our own infinite power. It's not a quest to avoid pain or struggle, but a path to understanding the meaning within them. Growth comes from challenges. They are not obstacles to be avoided, but vital components of our evolution. When we see life in this light, we realize that we are not victims of circumstance, but co-creators of our experience. We are not trying to flee this simulation, but to recognize our role within it. True freedom comes from accepting the full spectrum of human experience, including the challenges and the perceived limitations. It is by seeing that our limitations have been a vehicle for our own growth that we fully embody our true freedom. Therefore, freedom is not about escaping, but embracing the totality of our experience. By understanding this, we understand that we are not just in the world, but we are also part of the world. As we come to the close of our exploration, it's important to remember all that we have uncovered on this journey. We challenged the conventional story of human origins, explored the mysteries of our genetic makeup, and delved into the wisdom of esoteric traditions. We questioned the very nature of our reality and considered the idea that we may be living in a carefully constructed simulation. We explored the symbolism of light and darkness, the concept of the veil, and the nature of our awakening. Now we understand that the they who hid the truth are not just external forces, but the limiting narratives within our own minds. Remember when we began, when we asked, what if you're not from here, then what does your purpose truly mean? From the perspective we have reached, we see now that our origins are not simply tied to Earth, but to something far grander, and that our purpose is not to simply exist, but to fully realize our potential as powerful co-creators of reality. This is the new beginning that we have reached together. By understanding our place in this grand story, the purpose of each pattern becomes clear. The idea of the veil, of waking up, and escaping the matrix, all represent the journey from a limited perspective to a more expansive understanding. They are not just concepts, but guideposts on our path to self-discovery and empowerment. This is not just knowledge, it is an awakening. It is now our responsibility to use these patterns, this information, to step fully into our power. Each challenge becomes an opportunity for growth, each duality a chance for integration, and each step forward on the path to our true origins. This understanding of how the pieces connect is the beginning of conscious transformation. The goal of our waking up is not an escape, but an understanding of our place within the simulation. We now understand how to not only change ourselves, but to change the world around us as well. And through this, we fulfill our true purpose, So to those questions we posed at the start of our journey, what if you're not from here? And then, what does your purpose really mean? We have now discovered that our origins extend far beyond this planet, that our true nature is tied to the larger consciousness that permeates everything, and that our purpose is to actively shape our experience and reality. We are not passive observers, we are active participants in our evolution. We now understand that it is by taking responsibility for our own individual consciousness that we can create a better world. Our origins are not set in stone, but are as fluid as consciousness itself. By actively shaping our own experience, by changing the narratives within our minds, we can create the world that we truly wish to live in. We are not limited to our past or our present, but have the power to choose our future. We have reached a place of understanding that is far beyond where we began, and now we can truly begin to understand the power that lies within us. As we come to the conclusion of our journey together, let us all take a deep breath and ground ourselves in this new understanding. It's in the stillness that we realize our own power. Breathe in the possibility and breathe out the limitations. This moment, right here, is the gateway into our transformation. We have explored profound ideas, questioned long-held assumptions, and uncovered hidden truths. Let us carry this knowledge forward with intention and grace, knowing that the power to create a new reality lies within each of us. Take a moment and breathe with these thoughts. By bringing our focus back to our breath, we create a space for deeper understanding, a place to integrate all that we have discovered. This space of peace and stillness is the foundation for our future growth. Let us each embrace this understanding, knowing that we are powerful, we are limitless, and that we are just getting started. Now, I encourage you to continue exploring these ideas, to question everything, and to never settle for easy answers. Our journey has just begun, and the path ahead is filled with infinite possibilities. What we have discovered today is just the doorway, the beginning of an even greater understanding of ourselves and our place in this universe. There are layers upon layers of truth waiting to be uncovered. Keep pushing, keep exploring, and keep asking the deeper questions. The more we seek, the more we will discover. The key is to never stop questioning and to continue expanding our awareness. The pursuit of truth is a lifelong endeavor, and it is our duty to continue our journey of discovery. And remember that the answers do not lie in any book or any outside source, but deep within your own consciousness. This understanding can be applied to all aspects of your life, your relationships, your work, your spiritual path. Take the time to examine all of these from this new perspective, and you will discover new levels of understanding and new ways to grow. It is by applying these ideas to our own lives that we will find even more profound levels of understanding. Your reality is as fluid as your thoughts and your beliefs. Use this information to create the world that you want to live in. This is not just knowledge, but a way of being, an embodiment of your true potential. And as you integrate these new ideas, you will find that they will enhance all areas of your life. The understanding of our hidden origins will continue to bring forth new opportunities for growth. The key is to continue to ask the deeper questions. Remember that your personal journey of exploration is the key to uncovering more profound layers of truth. Take active steps to deepen your own understanding by implementing practices like meditation, mindfulness, and journaling, and create space for self-reflection. Be willing to go deeper into your own consciousness. The more you explore, the less you will know. The more you search, the more you will find. The greatest adventure you will ever take is the journey into your own mind. Through this continued commitment to personal exploration, you will gain clarity about your purpose and path. And through this personal transformation, we will transform the collective. And as you continue to explore, always remember that the journey of awakening is not a destination, but a lifelong process. There are countless possibilities that lie ahead, each one more amazing than the last. Stay curious and remain open to learning, and never stop seeking a deeper understanding of yourself and of the nature of reality. This is the adventure of a lifetime, and it is always unfolding. Do not simply accept what I have said here, but use it as a guidepost to your own journey of discovery. Your life is full of infinite possibilities. Each new day brings an opportunity to grow, learn, and expand your own understanding. This journey is yours to experience, and it is an adventure without end.